In this video, I show you the basics on how to play Fallout Wasteland Warfare. Stay tuned. Hello Bitsbrood, it's Craig from Bitzbox.co.uk here, and in this video, I'm going to show you the basics on how to play Fallout Wasteland Warfare. So we're going to be looking at the Get an Acclaimed book that has all the basics on movement, combat and shooting, I believe. And we're going to go through all that. In a future video, I'll go through it in a bit more advanced rules, and we'll also do some games as well. But this video is all about just learning the basics. So, before we begin, if you are new here and you are interested in all things wargaming, such as battle reports, paint tutorials, conversion videos, and how to play videos, then do hit that subscribe button down below, and you can ring that bell icon if you never want to miss when an upload goes live. And also, before we begin, just a big shout out to all our patrons. With you make videos like this possible, because we are using some brand new audio equipment in this one as well. So without the patrons, it wouldn't be possible. So hopefully you guys enjoy, and yeah, let's just get straight into this. So yeah, we'll begin with movement. Now, in most war games this is quite basic, but Fallout does have its own unique measuring system. I'm not a massive fan of this. I could have just stuck with inches like most other games. So of course, most games, as we're familiar with, we'll use a tape measure like this one, and we'll measure distances in inches, but not so with Fallout. So with Fallout, you have all these different coloured rulers. Now, they do equate to inches. Like the black one is 12, the blue one is 10, the green is 8, red is 6, and then 4 and 2. Not only are they coloured, but they also have different shapes at the end. So you can see it's completely square on the end of the black one, where it's rounded on the blue ones. Then we have sort of a round and a half round on the green, round and flat on the red, and sort of opposing half rounds there, and a half round and flat. This is simply for people who may have colour blindness, which I think is a great little addition. However, they could just stuck the old traditional tape measure and wouldn't even have to do that. But they decided to do it this way, and yeah, it's okay. It's quite easy to quickly see on stat sheets and stuff what your movement is. So we'll look at that now. So I'll just put these to one side and we'll bring out the Get an Acclaimed book. So, movement. Let's get both pages here. Each person's card has 2 movement stats. The first one, I'll bring the card up closer, is their basic movement. So for the sole survivor, Day 1 miniature, she would move yellow. This is for like running and charging. So that's a red. Now, it's not done as in what if you decide to go red, that you just simply go red. You actually get both your movement values. So your distance would be that. It's also worth noting that you don't have to move the full distance of your movement. Again, this is something that we're all familiar with in most wargaming. Most movement values are a maximum, so you can move anywhere between sort of standing still or that maximum movement. It's also worth noting how the movement between the miniatures work as well with these rulers. As you can see here, you're measuring from the front of the base to the back, whereas in most games you measure front to front. So if I grab a miniature here, for example, the yellow movement would take them there. Whereas say you were playing something like 40k or Age of Sigma and they could move this number of inches, they would actually move here. So you actually get a little bit extra movement than what the range ruler distance is. Now, movement takes up an action, and we'll talk about actions in a future video, but if you have more than one action, then you can move more than once. And each movement is your first colour on your stat card. I think I mentioned earlier that the other one's for running. It's actually just only for charging. I don't think you can run in this. You'll just move with additional actions. So, if you're familiar with the Fallout video games, you'll know that you have 7 main attributes. These all spell out the word special, because, of course, everyone in Fallout is special. So these 7 attributes are strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. Next to them are several symbols. And, for example, we have a pistol and a rifle next to perception. That means we have to do a perception skill check if we want to fire our pistol or our rifle. So to do this, you need to roll the white dice, which we have here. Now, the white dice has several other symbols on it as well as the numbers, and we'll go into them in more detail later. In the book that we're using here, it counts every symbol just as a 1 apart from the X. Now, an X is just an automatic failure. So we'll roll our dice, and we'll say we're going to fire our pistol. So we have a perception of 5, so we need to roll 5 or under. And in this case, we rolled a 7. I think that's a 7. It's more like a 7 than it does a 1, which would be a fail. It wasn't a very good roll, so we'll roll again. So in this case, I rolled a 3, so that would be a pass. And that's pretty straightforward. So yeah, that is just the basics on how to do skill checks. Now, all the other skills on the card are all used for a manner of different things, which will all be expanded on in the future, but for now, I'm certainly going to look at melee and for shooting. So if we just go back to our card, you can see we have like a little knife next to strength. So for a melee attack, we would use a strength check. So, putting the two things together that we know already, we can take a simple shot. So, going back to our second camera, we have our Sole Survivor miniature here, and we have a Super Mutant Hound. Now here I have a stat card for her hunting rifle, and as you can see there are 2 colours marked on the card. Now of course we know that this is the range, so we have the blue range ruler for short range, and then the black is long. So you can have a pretty long range, which I'll never be able to get into the shot here. So the hunting rifle has a very good long range, and we can use the ruler to see that it's well in the short range to shoot this hound. So to take a shot at the hound, we start off by rolling our white dice. Now when we get into the effect dice here, you will eventually roll them all together. But for now, we'll just take the shot using the white dice. And I rolled an X, which would be a failure. For example, though, had I rolled a 3 again, then that would have hit, and then we would work out how much damage that do, and we'll look at that later on. So before we get into what the effects of the weapons do, we need to look at melee first. Now melee works very similar, but of course you have to be in base to base. So you can get into melee by charging, and we've already looked over how the charge distance works on the cards, which are right there. Once you charge into combat, you can then do a melee attack. So here we're just, for example, we're going to use the baseball bat. Again, on the card, we can see that the symbol, which will match the symbol in the top corner of the weapons card, is next to strength. So we'd roll our white dice, and I'm rolling good failures, and 4's a little harder to succeed on, but we rolled a 10, so that would be a failure. And of course, had we rolled a 2, say 2 for example, that would have hit. So pretty straightforward in terms of how to hit. So now we'll look at how we can do damage with the effect dice. So going back to our 2 miniatures here, we're going to take a shot with the hunting rifle. Now we already know that that's in range, and we know we need the white dice to hit. Now underneath we have some coloured little dice symbols there, so they tell us which dice we need to roll. So we have 2 yellows there, so we would need to roll 2 yellow dice with our white dice. So we know from our Sole Survivor card that we need to score 5 or under to hit. and we rolled a 4, so we did hit. Now we've rolled 2 symbols here. These reduce the target's armor. Now there's all different symbols on the yellow dice which we can look at. And the -1, that reduces the number rolled on the white dice to make it a little bit easier to hit. So these reduce 1 point of armor, these reduce 2. We'll go later on into more advanced rules when we look at other symbols. And then that does nothing. And this one increases the damage by 1. So I'm going to put it there and pretend that we've increased the damage by 1. Now the different coloured dice do all different things. So these are the armor reduction ones. So these are mainly looking at trying to do more damage and reduce armor. The black dice are damage effect dice. So you can see they have more symbols on them what are likely to do more damage. And we'll look at damage in a moment. We have the blue ones, which are special effects, and these we will look at in the future. And the green dice are accuracy effect dice. So as you can see, there's a lot more minus numbers on here, which make it easier to hit. So we've scored a hit, we've done 1 extra damage, and we've reduced the armor. So how do we take damage from the miniature? Well, on our card we have a basic damage value there, which is 2. We've managed to plus 1 to that with this. So the damage would be increased by 1. But first, we have to get through this guy's armor. So we have the mutant's card here, and here is his different armor values. Now every miniature have different armor values. We have physical, we have energy, and we have radiation, and each weapon will do a different type of damage. So as you can see here, we have a little symbol here which is for physical damage, and here you can see that his physical armor is 1. So because we rolled on here that he's going to have his armor reduced by 1, then his armor is down to 0, and he will take the damage. How much health a miniature have, as you could probably see on the card, is their endurance score, usually. It can be different for different miniatures. For example, it's the agility on the Sole Survivor, but whatever the heart is next to, that is how much health you have. On a lot of miniatures, it is their endurance. So here, we've done the extra damage on the 2, so he would take 3 wounds and have 2 remaining. Now, let's say, for example, we were attacking something with more armor. So let's say it was the Death Claw. The Death Claw has 3 plus 1, so his armor would be 4, and that would be reduced to 3. So what does that mean? Well, the Death Claw, once it's been hit, would have to roll this red dice. Now, if this guy can roll under his armor rating, roll the dice, he rolled a 1, then you would reduce that amount of damage by whatever you rolled. If you roll over your armor value, then this has no effect. You can roll equal to your armor value as well, that is fine. So, for example, had he rolled a 3, which would have been his armor value, then that would have actually done no damage at all. Even with that plus 1 damage, he would have took no damage. So, the higher armor you have, obviously, the better, and I think this can roll up to 4. So I hope these little basics just for movement and combat are straightforward enough. If you still don't get it, I'm going to do a quick little run through now, just doing a shot and a melee attack, go over how they work. But yeah, it's quite straightforward really. There is a lot more, obviously, more advanced rules to this, but I thought we'll start off by doing a nice basics video. So yeah, I'll get into a little fight here and we'll see how we get on. So, back with our Sole Survivor and our Mutant Hound. She is going to take a shot with her hunting rifle. I'll just get the card for that again. She's well within the short range. So she's going to roll a yellow dice and a white dice. And in this instance, you can see that she rolled Oh, it's a 9, I think, the dots there. So that would be a wild miss. The Super Mutant Hound is then going to charge. He's well within his charge range, so he's going to charge into melee. So he can do the Hound Bite. Now, there's a lot of little additional rules for this, which we'll cover in a later video. So I'm not going to worry about rolling the blue special dice, but I will roll the black and the yellow dice. Now, you can see he has a strength of 6, so he needs to roll 6 or under to succeed, and he also fails as well. Now, I'm not going to go into how many actions each stuff have, we're just going to do one attack each. So Soul Survivor's in combat, and she's going to attack with her baseball bat. Now, the baseball bat, again, has the black and the yellow, and she has a strength of 4. So for her, it's probably quite hard to hit. However, she does roll a 4, and she also rolls on the yellow dice. Once I get my reference back, and reducing the armor by 1. So that means she automatically will do the 1 damage with the baseball bat. Now, of course, with sort of weak attacks like this, it could go on for quite a while, so I'm not going to just keep rolling dice here for the next half hour until one of them dies, but I hope you get the idea here. Just for argument's sake, we're going to do another attack with the Hound Bite, and this time we're just going to pretend that it succeeded. So we'll just roll the black and the yellow, so -1, and also reduce the armor by 1. Now, our Soul Survivor against physical damage has an armor rating of 3. This will go down by 1, so it's now an armor value of 2. So she would roll the red dice, and she rolled a 2, so that actually negates the effect of the damage. So again, yeah, I would probably be here quite a while doing this little combat, depending on the dice rolls, but had she had failed and rolled a 4, she would then take 2 damage here. Now, there is additional rules on these cards, what we will look at in a later video as well, how you can deal more damage with your weapons. So yeah, that is just the basics of how to start in Fallout Wasteland Warfare. Everything I've went through is in the Get an Acclaimed book, as I said earlier. This comes with the starter set. Next up, we'll be looking at the other books and how to go over. We'll go over some more of the advanced rules. So yeah, that's it. Pretty straightforward for the basics, which is nice. I know once you start getting into it, you start needing a lot more counters and stuff like that. But we'll look at all that later, and hopefully we'll do a few little test games as well. So look out for all of that, and as I said earlier, if you want to keep up to date with all that, you can hit that subscribe button. If you have played the game, let me know what you think of it in the comments below, or just let me know what you think of what I've shown you here. And if you have enjoyed this video, then please do give it a thumbs up. So, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all again in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, then please feel free to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. You can also click that bell icon to be notified when a new video has gone live on this channel. On the screen now are 2 more videos that you may wish to check out, and a link to our Patreon page also. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.